My name's Steve Niles. I'm a writer, probably best known for creating 30 Days of Night with Ben Temple-Smith. Today I'm here to talk about Rodney Barnes bringing 30 Days of Night back for Falling Sun. Well, I'm excited I'm not writing it. I love Rodney. I think he just does the greatest stuff. You know, when I read Philadelphia, that's when I got the idea. I just thought he'd be perfect bringing back 30 Days a Night. I'm excited about the whole thing. It's fun to sit back and watch, and it's coming in looking beautiful, so I love it. It was actually a little newspaper article. I was living in Minnesota at the time, and every year, they still do it to this day, every year when the sun goes down in Barrow, they do a little human interest piece about, this town that goes dark. It's a lot more than 30 days, but it goes dark for a while. And I remember just ripping out the article and writing vampires. And I just sat on it for years. It wasn't until really, that I met Ben that I started digging out pitches. It just seemed like a no-brainer to me. It's one of those ideas I can't believe nobody else came up with. Steering away from romance completely, but especially it's important to know at the time the most popular vampires were Buffy, Vampire Slayer, and Twilight. I mean, it was extreme romance and extreme, and it's something we do as people. We tame our monsters. We have Frankenstein, so we make Frankenbear. We do things to make them not as scary. So I just thought, let's strip them down to the most basic. And I remember I said to Ben, they're land sharks. They don't care about you. They don't want to seduce you. They look at you like a beer can. I was thrilled. It took 7 years to get from the point where it was bought till it was on screen. It was David Slade and Sam Raimi. I mean, just a great team. And I think they did a great job. Well, all I asked was just make a good horror movie. A good, scary vampire movie. And I think they did. The thing that I like about doing with prose is you don't have all the restrictions. It could be as many words as you want, as many pages as you want, but comics are very structured. They have to be 20, 22 pages. A lot of times, people want cliffhangers. Restrictive isn't quite the right word, but there's just a lot more rules for writing comics than prose. I think comics, especially writing them, because you have to visualize it. I'm not an artist, so I have to really visualize what I think they're going to do. It's a lot more complicated to write and lay out a comic than it is to write a short story. You just sit down and start typing. The first thing I ever did was I got hired by Eclipse Comics way back to adapt some Clive Barker stuff. First thing I did was called an artist and said, can I please see a comic script? And he sent me 3 different scripts, actually. It was like an Ann Nesenti and a few other, I think Chris Claremont. They were all completely different. What I always tell people, because people get nervous about doing comics and not sure how to do it, and I always just tell them, you're just talking to the artist. You don't really have to talk to the audience at all. You're the cheerleader. You want to get the best that you can out of the artist. If you think about it like that, it's a lot less intimidating. I think it has a lot to do with what we're all going through right now. I think people are scared. And when you're scared, you like to face your fears. It's the same thing as, you look at all the atomic bug movies of the 50s and everything's radiation and this and that. And, people were terrified about the bomb. Horror and science fiction directly reflected it. And I think that's the case right now. I know I'm nervous.